perhaps even from the mountains of Tarthassa, that loomed in this hemisphere, Gor's southern, at the shore of Thassa, the sea, said to be in the myths without a farther shore. The Wagon Peoples claimed the southern prairies of Gor, from gleaming Thassa and the mountains of Tarthassa to the southern foothills of the Voltai Range itself, that reared in the crust of Gor like the backbone of a planet. On the north they claimed lands even to the rush-grown banks of the Cartius, a broad, swift-flowing tributary feeding into the incomparable Vosk. The land between the Cartius and the Vosk had once been within the borders of the claimed empire of Ar, but not even Marlenus, Ubar of Ubars, when master of luxurious, glorious Ar, had flown his tarnsman south of the Cartius. In the past months, I had made my way afoot, overland, across the equator, living by hunting and occasional service in the caravans of merchants, from the northern to the southern hemisphere of Gor. I had left the vicinity of the Sardar Range in the month of Savar, which in the northern hemisphere is a winter month, and had journeyed south for months, and had now come to what some call the plains of Turia, others the land of the Wagon Peoples, in the autumn of this hemisphere. There is, due apparently to the balance of land and water mass on Gor, no particular moderation of seasonal variations either in the northern or southern hemisphere. Nothing much, so to speak, to choose between them. On the other hand, Gor's temperatures, on the whole, tend to be somewhat fiercer than those of Earth, perhaps largely due to the fact of the wind-swept expanses of her gigantic landmasses. Indeed, though Gor is smaller than Earth, with consequent gravitational reduction, her actual land areas may be, for all I know, more extensive than those of my native planet. The areas of Gor which are mapped are large, but only a small fraction of the surface of the planet. Much of Gor remains to her inhabitants simply terra incognita. For purposes of convenience, I am recounting directions in English terms, thinking it would be considerably difficult for the reader to follow references to the Gorian compass. Briefly, for those it might interest, all directions on the planet are calculated from the Sardar Mountains, which, for the purposes of calculating direction, play a role analogous to our North Pole. The two directions, so to speak, in the Gorian way of thinking, are Tasada Va and Tasada Kiva, or, as one would normally say, Va and Kiva. Va means a turning, and Ki signifies negation. Thus, rather literally, one might speak of turning to the Sardar and not turning to the Sardar, something like either facing north or not facing north. On the other hand, more helpfully, the Gorian compass is divided into 8, as opposed to our 4 main quadrants, or better said, divisions, and each of these itself is, of course, subdivided. There is also a system of latitude and longitude, figured on the basis of the Gorian day, calculated in Arn, 20 of which constitute a Gorian day, and En and In, which are subdivisions of the Arn, or Gorian hour. Tasada Va is a direction which appears on all Gorian maps. Tasada Kiva, of course, never appears on a map, since it would be any direction which is not Tasada Va. Accordingly, the main divisions of the map are Tasada Va and the other 7. Taking the Sardar as our North Pole, the other directions, clockwise as Earth clocks move, Gorian clock hands move in the opposite direction, would be first Tasada Va, then, in order, Ror, Rim, Tun, Vask, sometimes spoken as Verus Va, or the true turning away, Kart, Klim, and Kyle, and then again, of course, Tasada Va. The Cartius River, incidentally, mentioned earlier, was named for the direction it lies from the city of Ar. From the Sardar, I had gone largely Kart, sometimes Vask, then Kart again, until I had come to the plains of Turia, or the land of the Wagon Peoples. I crossed the Cartius on a barge.